Got a great guest in studio today to learn about the Crime Victims Advocacy Network. It's CVAN11, CVAN11.org on the website. And I'm happy to have in studio with me Taylor Saastad. Good morning to you, Taylor.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Oh, thanks for coming on and talking about the Crime Victims Advocacy Network. So tell us a little bit about the background, where you are. I know there's a place here in Mason County, but also in Thurston and Lewis and Grays Harbor. So talk to me a little bit about the network.
Yeah, so the service center here is called Crime Victims Service Center, and we're part of the bigger region of Crime Victims Advocacy Network. So that includes 5 counties, which is Grays, Pacific, Lewis, Mason, and Thurston. We all kind of come together, work together as advocates about every 3 months. So we meet every quarter and kind of discuss issues and how we can improve each center. And we really rely on each other for referrals and different kind of information.
So you work with the folks in the area who may have been victims by a general large number of crimes. Mm-hmm. There are some ones that work differently. We're talking assaults, robbery, property crimes, identity theft. And is there a reason why you guys focus on these ones and perhaps not some other ones like domestic violence or sexual assault?
Sure. So the way we're funded through the VOCA grant, it's a separate funding through so there's domestic violence and sexual assault. They get one grant and we get a different one. So our goal is kind of bridge the gap for other services that those victims might not have. There's a lot that still needs to happen for domestic violence and sexual assault, but we just hope to bring the same kind of support to other victims.
What are some of the things that you offer, and who are the individuals that should or do use your services? Sure.
So one of the big things we do is really help kind of sit down and explain the criminal court process. It can be very lengthy and confusing. A lot of people know, and so we kind of sit down with them, explain what the hearings look like, how the process works, and a big support is going to court with victims, being that emotional support, answering questions. We also help do a lot of information and referrals. So within the community, if people need, housing or funding. We help fill out paperwork as far as crime victim compensation. People can receive medical support and counseling support for certain crimes, and a lot of people don't know about that. So we just really try to make sure that the information is presented to them so that we can help.
So let's go through a scenario here where I have been a victim of a crime. We'll do assault.
Okay.
And I come across your 24-hour toll-free hotline at 888-288-9221, or I get on the website at cvan11.org. And then from there, what happens next?
Sure. So if you were reaching out to me, I would kind of ask a couple questions, see, get a little bit more about the case. If it's a criminal case, we would go through kind of what the prosecutor's office is doing and how that charging looks. It's really victim-centered, so what you present to me, I try to kind of wrap around that and help basically what you need as a victim. A big thing is safety planning, assuring that people are safe and that they feel safe, and we can help with any kind of anti-harassment order that people might want to pursue through the courts. And I would send you a letter, a brochure, kind of explaining our services and keep you up to date with the court dates. Attend court if you'd like. Crime victims compensation is one that you would be able to apply for through the state, and that helps with medical bills, like I said earlier.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that you do that I just was unsure that was even out there, including, like you were talking about, some of the rights we do under some state law have the rights to be protected from the accused and the right to reasonable, accurate, and timely notices of court proceedings. Are people, do people find that it's hard to follow along with the various court documents, and then are there timelines that people need to get going to be able to be compensated for these types of things, if there's within so many days or something like that?
Yeah, so as far as the compensation with crime victims compensation, you have a year after you report the crime. And they are really well with working with people on kind of those definitions and boundaries depending on the crime. So that is something that if you don't want to access right away, but a year later you can access. As far as the court process, it can be really confusing, especially for someone who's never had exposure to that.
Yeah.
Just understanding what an omnibus hearing means, why court dates are getting continued, all the stuff that kind of happens in the background that's not at the court hearing, I can help explain to people and be that middle person between the prosecutor's office and the victim.
You can find more at cvan11.org. And one of the other things I noticed is that you don't necessarily have to refer the crime to prosecution to get the services.
Correct. Yeah. A lot of times I send out letters so I get a dispatch log every morning and I request the police report. And then I send out letters even if there's no suspect information or there's no charging. I send out letters to victims, if they want more information on how to maybe pursue a civil legal matter or, like I said, referrals within the community on resources.
To most of the folks that come in, they have heard about your services, or are they brand new to learning about it, or have they used services in the past?
In Mason County, a lot of it's brand new information. We are kind of, before there was an advocate that was doing Mason and Lewis, and so it was hard to keep the whole both counties really up to speed. So now that I'm full-time here, I'm trying to get out and get the word out. So a lot of times victims have never heard what a victim advocate is or what they do, partially because they've never been a victim of a crime, and other parts just because it's kind of a hidden service, I feel like, a little bit.
Yeah, well, we'll try to get the word out there for sure. Also on Facebook, facebook.com, Crime Victims Advocacy Network. We'll link this interview on that page and get this information out to folks as well. The 24-hour hotline, again, is 888-288-9221. And people, so, okay, so I get a good understanding of what you do there. It is something, and I guess you're right. If you have never been a victim of one of these types of crimes, you never would realize that there is a lot of emotion, there's a lot of questions that come after these types of things. Yeah. Is it hard to gain the trust from the victim, knowing, hey, we're not going to be selling your information. I am here solely to help you. I know that you have, in some instance, put yourself out there. You've been a victim now. I'm not going to be the one. I'm not taking advantage like that.
Sometimes I really, surprisingly, I don't think a lot. I think people I really use the service and embrace it. Sometimes when I reach out to people who have been a victim of identity theft or fraud, they're a little bit hesitant. How did you get my information when it was just stolen? But I try to just let them know we're free and confidential. I really am honest with how I requested a police report. Here's the number of the police report. And some people choose to access and some people don't. So it's very, like I said, victim-centered, and we're always there even after the crime, may 1 or 2 years down the road and the court case is closed, we're definitely still available for questions or restitution questions, review hearings, because it can be, if someone goes to, correction center, it can be a lengthy process.
Yeah.
So.
Taylor Saastad from the Crime Victims Advocacy Network. She's the lead victim advocate here, and we'll put the contact information for her here with also the 24-hour number. Is that the good number there, or do we have this 426 number? Which probably the 1-800 number.
The 24-hour one is a statewide hotline, and they connect you. And then I'm in my office various hours right now, but always leave a message, and I'll definitely contact them as well.
Well, Taylor, thanks for coming in and talking about this.
Thank you so much for having me.